What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Jericho Falls again, here with my brother Saint, your brother Saint. We come to you live again from the 19 Rosenberg here in Rosenberg, Texas, to continue on with the understanding that I left off, or where we left off at from the Locust Horde, according to the scriptures, Revelation, the 9th chapter. I left you off stating how the whole entire time you had no idea with playing games like Gears of War that you were actually looking at Revelations, the 9th chapter, being fulfilled before your eyes. We're going to go further into that tonight just so that you can follow along with the scriptures and get this particular understanding of what's getting ready to come here. Why they're taking their time with this terraforming going on with the HARP weapon as the particular, I guess you would call, doomsday device that goes along in conjunction with all that Revelation, the 9th chapter, entails. And we're going to prove that again with the same tools. You know what it is. We got the Bible, we got the scriptures, and the strongest concordance. You need these tools to go line upon line, precept upon precept, just through reading history as well, along with your Bible applications here. You're going to start to weave that picture, you're going to weave that web, you're going to paint that picture that needs to be painted so that you can go from standard definition as far as what you see on a day-to-day basis to high definition. You know what I'm saying? We're going from standard def to high def now, line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little, like the word says. And that's because, as always, you got to study to show yourself approved unto God, as a workman that need not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. I also have here the Webster's dictionary for the purpose of being able to just, find out certain words. If you don't know what they mean, you're going to want to get into what they mean. Stop just letting your preachers tell you everything. I mean, it's a shame, man. People go to church every week, pour out all their sins, just crying unto the Most High. At least they believe they crying unto the Most High. Just crying and crying and crying, but don't nothing ever change. And you're going to find out that that is because everything that you're being taught is contrary to what the Father says. They give you a form of godliness, but deny the power thereof. We're going to find that out just by going through the scriptures, because the things that you're starting to uncover, you ain't never been taught these things before. Let's keep going. We left off Revelation, the 9th chapter, talking about the Locust Horde, because we broke down reference numbers 7235 in the Hebrew concordance that also allowed us to extract references number 8635 and 8636. Reference numbers, not references number, but reference numbers 8635 and 8636. Those two particular words we're going to look into just a little bit more, because I left you off with the fact that you were actually playing Revelation, the 9th chapter with Gears of War. Let's go back to Revelation, the 9th chapter, and let's get, we're going to break down 8636 this time. We're going to break down that reference number. So in Revelation, the 9th chapter, we're at, and there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men who have not the seal of God in their foreheads. We're going into it a little bit more now. It says, and to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was like the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man. Let's look at that word torment for a moment here. We're going to see what that means so that we can start tying some stuff together. Because you got to remember, he says his will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Well, you got to know that the kingdom is suffering violence, and the violent taketh by force. And those that are bringing forth this violence are actually hoping for another type of what you would call, I guess, heavenly realm to be manifested on earth. Besides the one that we should be accustomed to according to the scripture, when we dwell in the scriptures in spirit and in truth. What's happening is that this particular understanding coming forth from these powers is one that's being learned from the dark side. Because we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, and spiritual wickedness in high places. Those of you out there still looking at mankind as your enemy, you have lost it. You've missed the whole entire point of why he says that we wrestle not against flesh and blood. You got to know it's some people learning some things that they shouldn't be learning in high places, causing people to commit sin underneath them. And they got to be corrected too. You can't look at people that's in high places with some sort of awe and some sort of what you would call astonishment. And this is what people do when they see celebrities and stars and things like that, not realizing these people had to do something evil just to get in the power that they're in. You going after celebrities when Revelation, the 9th chapter, is coming upon you here real soon, thinking that you're going to gain something from following these people when you actually finna fall right into the doggone threshing floor. You about to go right through where they send the lambs and the cattle and the beasts for slaughter to be processed. That's what's happening. That's why all of these things are taking place in the earth. We broke down what was going on with the wars and rumors of wars, and where the word broken down for earthquakes was to cause to shake. You remember that? To cause to shake.
Yes.
Let's go into Revelation, the 9th chapter. I don't want to keep sidebarring, but I just thought that I would break that down to find out what torment says. Torment, extreme pain or anguish of body or mind, a source of vexation or pain. And I have a second definition that says to cause severe suffering of body or mind. The second one for it is distort or to twist, rack, afflict, try, torture. Now you got to understand what that means. That word torment meaning not just that physical torment of the body, but also a torment of the mind. That is what is taking place with these particular locusts that's coming up out of the pit according to Revelation, the 9th chapter. These locusts have been given the power to hurt men. That tells you, like that last video we was explaining to you, that there's something already written in them to know to hurt only mankind. It didn't say hurt the grass or anything else. It said only those men who have not the seal of God in their foreheads. And that word torment is something that you need to continue to focus on, because you're going to find out what they've been doing with these particular concentration camps that they've been setting up throughout the entire country, that these will be the houses for all of these particular things to take place. Some people will go through these little concentration camps and be processed through that little microchip that they're going to get from the Obamacare program, and they'll be notified whether or not they're going to be sent out into the fields for service, or if they feel like they don't want to serve in their life, they realize right then at that point that they had given themselves over to the mark of the beast and say, no, I'm going to follow what my forefathers have followed according to the scriptures. And they'll say, well, we got a different route for you then. And they'll send them on either into them places where they got the stadium set up to send the demons out for you while you go and fight for your life. Just like they did during the time of the Romans, where they were sending our people out into the Colosseum to fight lions. Nothing new under the sun. What has been done shall be done again. And that's what's taking place right now. Just like they surrounded Jerusalem back in 70 AD, they surrounded America now to keep people from going out or people from being able to get in. They're stopping the borders right now because the whole entire corporation that's the United States has been sold off. They selling it day by day. China here in Houston owns pretty much all of the Beltway. If you look from Bel Air, Highway 6, all the way down to what we know as 59, Southwest Freeway here, all China. All up and down there. Chinatown. So we know that what's coming up out of this pit from the last video is coming to carry out a particular task. We broke down certain words, and we're going to do it again. We're going to go and look up that reference number for locust again in the Hebrew, which was 7235. And that's in the Hebrew concordance. We're going to 7235.
Got you. Rabbi.
Rabbi. Which says to increase in number, multiply and grow large, to shoot, archer, rear offspring, to gain, make numerous. So whatever this is that's coming up, it's gonna shoot like an archer. What's shooting up like an archer from out of the bottom? You remember on Gears of War where the little stalk would come up, and then you had the little hatchlings on there that would come out after they had heated up enough, and they would jump out. The lambent forces, yeah, that's the heat within them. We found out through the last video that that word horde in the old Germanic is hatchlings, that which is hatched by heat. I'm gonna go there real quick. Horde. It's H-O-R-D-E, not H-O-A-R-D, like, you know, that show Hoarders where people, you know, living in bags of feces and things like that. Here it just says a throng or a swarm. Now that word swarm, because this dictionary is just a little simple dictionary, I have another one that's an encyclopedic version, man. I got it from Half Price Books, a little 3-volume set. Man, you want to talk about some serious knowledge in that thing, bro. I'm going to have to get that from storage, so when we do the next video, we'll have that particular, I guess you would call, storehouse of knowledge available unto us. So with understanding that they're going to increase in number, they're going to shoot like archers from out of the bottom. They're going to grow large. Let's look at that other reference number, 8636, that is also within the bracket of references next to 7235, if you're in your strongest strongs. So here we go with 8636 in the Hebrew concordance, the lexicon for the Old Testament. 8636, which says Tarbi, excessive interest or exorbitant interest. Increase, unjust gain, right? So you look at that and you want to break down certain words in there so that you can find out what's going on, because that's just like, okay, exorbitant interest. You sit there and smile at that and be looking like a real intelligent fool because you know what exorbitant interest says. You know how to pronounce it, you know how to enunciate it, but you don't know what it means. Let's not leave it at that. Let's find out what these words mean. That word exorbitant, I've looked it up already. You'll be able to find out the same exact thing. It's an old Anglo-French word, I believe, that breaks down to ex, which is out of, and then you have orbiter, which is wheel track. Basically, a certain orbit or confined space in which one is designed or designated to travel in, you are going out of it when you are an exorbitant or an exorbiter individual. If you are exorbitant, you are someone that is coming up out of a normal place of confinement. Looking at that word interest, that is the one that we should find out more about as well. Let's go. We're going to find the word interest. I-N-T-E-R-E-S-T. I had spoken of it on the last video, but I don't believe I broke it down. If I did, you'll find it. If not, then you'll get it here. Interest. Interest. Right, title, or legal share in something. A charge for borrowed money that is generally a percentage of the amount borrowed. Also, the return received by capital on its investment.
Wait, one more time on that last one.
That last one says the return received by capital on its investment. We're going to start breaking this down here in just a moment, what that means. Go ahead and turn your volume down on that joint, man. And it says in the fifth definition, readiness to be concerned with or moved by an object or class of objects. A quality in a thing that arouses interest. So the readiness to be concerned with or moved by an object or class of objects. That definition, along with a charge for borrowed money that is generally a percentage of the amount borrowed. Now, you got to look at the fact that that word is just the words that they give from the normal English. When you go into some of the ancient definitions for words like interest, you'll find out that it says that something is coming to receive compensation or, monies due from monies lent, or to receive compensation due from a defaulting debtor. And the readiness also, from what we read here, the readiness to be concerned with or moved by an object or class of objects. So they're going to come up out of that pit to be moved by a class of objects. Why would something from the bottom be looking to be moved by a class of objects? And what class of objects will they be moved by? Also, what is this defaulting debt? Or what does this compensation do from a defaulting debtor? What is this that we are to be looking at and be concerned with if there's some locusts getting ready to come up out of the pit, like you've been playing on that Gears of War?
We know they're not grasshoppers.
And we know they're not grasshoppers. We know they're not them normal locusts. Because if you go to the 7th verse of Revelation, the 9th chapter, it says, "And the shapes of the locusts were like horses prepared unto battle. And on their heads were, as it were, crowns like gold, and their faces were like the faces of men. And they had hair like the hair of women, and their teeth were like the teeth of lions." Now, I'm not going to go too deep here because I have to dive into a history that is going to take a little bit more time to break down. But if you understand through the reading of certain histories why something is coming up out of the bottom now, then you can paint that picture from standard definition to high def of what really is taking place. With the discovering of certain histories, primarily the fragment of the book of Noah, you will find out that after the flood, the spirits of the giants remain. They are known as the Nephilim or the Rephaim, which are the spirits of the dead. And these spirits carry disease with them, for they were created for that purpose, as the book of the fragment of Noah tells you. Now, the sons of Noah came to him and said, "Listen, if we don't do something about these spirits, we won't make it." And so Noah prayed unto God, and the Father said, "Okay, I will destroy them and seal them all away." But Satan, who was at that time known as Mastema, you will find that in this Hebrew lexicon of the Strongs, that is just the word mentioned for adversary. Mastema, or Satan, came before the Most High and said, "Leave me just a little of them so that I'll be able to work what I need to work in the earth," just as he did during the time of Job. And the Father agreed to leave 10% of those spirits that were created through the destruction of their bodies by the flood. Now, after this particular event took place, the Father, of course, sealed up the other 90%. This is what's coming out of the bottom, according to Revelations, the 9th chapter. This is why we're dealing with seals. There have been things sealed away. And if you don't know the history, you won't know exactly what it is that's coming that was once sealed away. If these things have crowns on their heads, like gold, that tell you that they have a king set over them. Why? Because it tells you in verse 11, "And they had a king over them, who is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon." Right? So we just found out that these particular creatures coming from the bottom have an order to them. They have a king set over them. They were created down in the bottom. Go ahead.
Break down the definition of Abaddon.
In the Hebrew, that word Abaddon is the word given for destruction. Abba and Don. Abba, the first one being father, and Don, I believe, just fulfills the second half of that word, which is ruin or chaos. Abba, Don. Abba being the father, and Don of destruction.
So father.
So father of destruction. Now, I don't have that particular breakdown for the word Don, but I don't need that because if you go into the Hebrew lexicon, it tells you that the name Abaddon is destruction. And we'll go and look that up right now. We'll go and find Abaddon because you're going to need to find out that that name is tied to other names that people call on. And that's why on this particular video, we're going to dive into the name that you should call on to help you escape from this particular destruction that's coming, because it will help you to know who to link up with during these times. If you out there calling on the name of Jesus, you're going to follow the people that call on him, and you're going to go right into their destruction. Because everybody who calling on Jesus is in hysteria. They're not paying attention to what's happening. They don't know what's coming out of the bottom according to Revelation, the 9th chapter, nor would they ever be able to. Because that name is tied to the very name that we're studying right now. And we're going to find that.
3 in the Greek.
In the Greek, that word Abaddon, what number did they give you?
3.
Number 3? Go into the Greek. Now, what you need to notice about this is, why are the Greeks giving us a Hebrew name? Why do we have to go to the Greeks for a Hebrew name? You're going to find out because according to the warfare of Daniel, the 9th chapter, as we spoke about before, I believe that was another video where we spoke about the warfare according to Daniel, the 9th chapter. It tells you that in the war, to the end of the war, desolations are determined. You got to know that in warfare, your enemy would do things to cause what you would call a smoke and mirrors effect in front of you, where they will put smoke and mirrors to cause you to look at all different types of illusions being created so that you won't know the truth.
And it's right there in your face.
And in it being right there in your face, because you so turned up to all of the things that you've seen through these smoke and mirrors, you can't see the truth. So number 3 in the Greek says what?
Abaddon.
Abaddon. Destruction.
Destruction. That's the only.
Destruction.
That's it. Destruction.
Abaddon. Say in the Hebrew, the name is Abaddon, because they know that the Hebrew word for father is Abba.
Which is right here, by the way. Number 5. Abba.
Abba in what? The Hebrew?
No, this is still the Greek.
In the Greek?
Father.
There you go. Number 5 in the Greek. It says Aramaic for father, but we also know that it is Hebrew because Aramaic is just a derivation of the Hebrew tongue. That's all it is.
Father. So the father of destruction.
Father of destruction. That's what that is, right?